The ship shook violently as it crashed through the thick purple clouds. Han Wujin gripped his seat tightly, watching sparks fly from the control panels around him. Next to him, Park Da-eun frantically typed commands into her computer, trying to stabilize their failing systems. "Engine 3 is dead," shouted Kim Tae-ho from the back of the small research vessel. "We're going down whether we like it or not." Wujin looked out the window at the alien world rushing up to meet them. Strange crystal formations jutted from the ground like frozen lightning. The sky was a deep orange color, and two small suns hung in the distance. This was not how he had planned to explore planet Kepler 442c. The ship hit the ground hard, sliding across smooth rock for several hundred meters before finally stopping. Smoke filled the cabin and alarms blared from every direction. The three humans sat in stunned silence for a moment. "Is everyone alive?" asked Da-eun, coughing as she unbuckled her safety harness. "Alive, yes. Happy about it, not so much," replied Tae-ho, checking his equipment. As the team's security officer, he was already thinking about their survival situation. Wujin stood up slowly and looked around. Their research mission to study alien plant life had just become a fight for survival. He walked to the food synthesizer and pressed the activation button. Nothing happened. He tried again. Still nothing. "The food maker is broken," he announced. "We only have emergency rations." Da-eun made a face. "Those taste like cardboard mixed with dirt." "Better than starving," said Tae-ho practically. "How much do we have?" Wujin checked the supply compartment. "Enough for maybe 2 weeks if we're careful." The three friends had worked together for 5 years, exploring new worlds and studying alien life. Wujin was the team scientist, always curious about how life worked on different planets. Da-eun handled all their communication systems and spoke 12 languages. Tae-ho kept them safe and made sure they always had a way home. But now home seemed very far away. They spent the rest of the day checking their ship's damage. The main engine was completely destroyed. Their communication system could only send weak signals that would never reach Earth. The only good news was that the air outside was breathable for humans. As the orange sky began to darken, they decided to look for better shelter. Tae-ho led them toward a group of crystal caves about a kilometer from their crash site. The formations were beautiful, like giant purple and blue gems growing from the ground. "These crystals are incredible," whispered Wujin, running his hand along the smooth surface. "They seem to store heat from the suns." Inside the largest cave, they found a perfect camping spot. The crystal walls glowed softly, providing gentle light. The temperature was comfortable and the ground was flat and dry. But they were not alone. Deep in the cave, Wujin heard soft sounds, like small animals crying. He motioned for the others to be quiet and slowly moved toward the noise. In a small chamber, they found 3 creatures unlike anything they had ever seen. They were the size of house cats, with scales that changed color from deep red to golden yellow. Small wings sprouted from their backs, though they seemed too young to fly. Their eyes were large and intelligent, and they looked very hungry and weak. "Baby dragons," whispered Da-eun in amazement. The creatures noticed the humans and tried to hide behind some rocks, but they were too weak to move far. One of them, the smallest, collapsed and lay panting on the cave floor. Da-eun quickly set up her universal translator, a device that could learn and interpret most forms of communication. After a few minutes of listening to the creature's soft sounds, the machine began to work. "We can eat your leftovers, kind strangers," came a small voice from the translator. The largest of the baby dragons was looking at them with hopeful eyes. "Father went to hunt but hasn't returned for many suns. We are so hungry." Wujin felt his heart break. These were just babies, alone and starving. Without thinking, he opened his backpack and pulled out one of their emergency food bars. "Wujin, what are you doing?" asked Tae-ho. "We need that food." "Look at them, Tae-ho. They're dying." Wujin broke the food bar into 3 pieces and slowly approached the dragon babies. "We're humans. We can't just watch children starve even if they're not human children." He placed the food pieces on the ground near the creatures. The baby dragons looked at each other, then carefully approached the strange human food. The smallest one sniffed it, then took a tiny bite. Its eyes widened in surprise, and it quickly ate the rest. The other two followed, devouring their pieces eagerly. Almost immediately, their scales began to brighten. Color returned to their eyes, and they sat up straighter. "The food is helping them," observed Daun. "Look how much stronger they look already." "Thank you, kind humans," said the translator as all three babies looked at their rescuers. "This food is good. It makes our bellies warm." Taeho crossed his arms. "This is not smart, Wu Jin. We don't know anything about these creatures. What if they're dangerous? What if their father comes back and thinks we're trying to hurt them?" "Then, we'll deal with that when it happens," replied Wu Jin. "But I'm not going to let babies starve when we can help them." Diane supported her friend. "He's right, Taeho. This is what makes us human. We help those who need help." The security officer sighed but didn't argue further. Deep down, he felt the same way. As night fell on the alien world, the humans shared their dinner with the three baby dragons. The creatures were fascinated by their new friends, asking questions through the translator about where they came from and why they looked so strange. "We come from a blue world far away," explained Daun. "We travel to different planets to learn about life in the universe." "Are there more like you?" asked one of the babies. "Billions," said Wu Jin, "and most of them would do the same thing we're doing right now." The baby dragons curled up together near the warm crystal walls. The humans set up their sleeping bags nearby, taking turns staying awake to watch for danger. But as the night passed peacefully, even Taeho began to relax. Maybe helping these creatures had been the right choice after all. Outside the cave, two alien suns set behind the crystal formations, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. Inside, 3 humans and 3 baby dragons slept safely together, beginning a friendship that would change both their species forever. 3 days had passed since the humans first met the baby dragons. What started as a simple act of kindness had grown into something beautiful and unexpected. The cave had become a home for all 6 beings, and life had settled into a comfortable routine. Wu Jin woke up to find the smallest dragon, which Dayun had started calling Flicker, sleeping curled up against his sleeping bag. The little creature's scales glowed softly in the morning light, radiating gentle warmth that had kept Wu Jin comfortable all night. "They're using their body heat to keep us warm," he whispered to Daun, who was already awake and taking notes on her tablet. "I noticed that too," she replied quietly. "They've been doing it every night. It's like they know we get cold." The middle-sized dragon, nicknamed Spark, was already awake and playing with Taeho's equipment belt. The security officer pretended to be annoyed, but Wu Jin could see he was fighting back a smile. "Stop chewing on my tools, you little troublemaker," Taeho said, but his voice was gentle. He carefully removed his scanner from Spark's mouth and patted the dragon's head. The largest baby dragon, Ember, was the most serious of the 3. It had appointed itself as the group's lookout, always watching the cave entrance for signs of danger. Through the translator, Ember had explained that this was its job in the family. "Father taught us to always watch for shadow wolves," Ember had told them the day before. "They hunt in packs and like to eat baby dragons." This information had made Taeho much more alert. He now understood why the babies had been hiding so deep in the cave when they found them. As the group ate breakfast together, sharing food bars that the dragons loved more than anything, Daun made an important discovery. "Watch this," she said, holding up a shiny crystal she had found near the cave entrance. Flicker immediately flew over, its tiny wings carrying it just a few meters before it had to land. The baby dragon picked up the crystal in its mouth and brought it back to Daun, dropping it in her lap. "It's playing fetch," laughed Wu Jin, "just like a dog." But it was more than that. Over the morning, all 3 dragons began bringing Daun different objects. Pretty rocks, unusual crystals, even a strange flower they had found growing near their water source. Each gift was placed carefully in front of her. "They're not just playing," realized Daun. "They're giving me presents, Look at how careful they are with each one. She picked up each gift and examined it closely, making sure to thank the dragons for their thoughtfulness. The babies were delighted by her attention, their scales brightening with happiness. Wu Jin was fascinated by their behavior. As a scientist, he had studied many species, but he had never seen such complex emotional intelligence in such young creatures. They understand gratitude, he told his friends. They know we helped them, and they're trying to help us back. This became even more obvious when Spark discovered that the humans had trouble finding clean water. The planet had plenty of water sources, but many contained minerals that could make humans sick. The dragons, however, had an excellent sense of taste and smell. Spark led them to a crystal-clear spring hidden behind a wall of blue crystals. The water was perfect for human consumption, cold and clean. The little dragon looked proud as the humans filled their water bottles. "Thank you, Spark," said Taeho, scratching the dragon under its chin. "You're a good finder." Spark purred like a cat and rubbed against Taeho's leg. The tough security officer was completely won over. That afternoon, while the humans worked on trying to repair their communication system, the dragons told them more about their world through Da-Un's translator. "Father is very old," explained Ember. "He has lived for thousands of years. He says the world used to be different, warmer, with more animals to hunt." "What happened?" asked Wu Jin. "The big cold came," said Flicker sadly. "The weather changed and many animals went away or died. Now Father has to fly very far to find food. That's why he's been gone so long," added Spark. "He doesn't want to leave us, but we need to eat." The humans learned that the dragons were the last family of their kind in this part of the world. Other dragon families had either died out or moved to warmer places far away. Their father was trying to decide whether to risk the dangerous journey to find other dragons or stay in their familiar territory and hope conditions improved. "Father worries about us traveling," said Ember. "Baby dragons can't fly long distances, and there are many dangerous creatures between here and the warm lands." Dawn felt tears in her eyes. These babies and their father were facing the same kind of struggle that many species on Earth had faced when their environments changed. The difference was that dragons were intelligent enough to understand their situation and worry about their future. "Your father sounds very brave," she told them. "He is the bravest," agreed all three dragons together. As evening approached, the humans and dragons worked together to make their cave more comfortable. The dragons used their natural ability to shape crystal formations, creating better sleeping areas and storage spaces. The humans contributed their technology, setting up lights and a water purification system. Wu Jin watched the dragons work and marveled at their skill. Despite being just babies, they instinctively knew how to modify their crystal environment. Their small claws could shape the formations with incredible precision. "They're natural engineers," he told Da-Yun. "Look how they're reinforcing those walls." "And they're thinking ahead," she replied. "See how Ember is making that tunnel slope downward? That's to drain water if it rains." Taeho was impressed by their tactical thinking. "They understand defense, too. Watch how they're creating multiple exit routes." That night, as they all settled down to sleep, Flicker approached Wu Jin with something special. The smallest dragon had found a crystal formation that looked almost like a flower, with delicate purple petals made of stone. "For you," said the translator as Flicker placed the crystal flower in Wu Jin's hands. "Because you shared food when we were hungry." Wu Jin felt a lump in his throat. This little creature had given him something beautiful simply because he had been kind. He carefully placed the crystal flower in his pack, knowing he would treasure it forever. "Thank you, Flicker," he whispered. "This is the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given me." The baby dragon purred and curled up against his sleeping bag, ready to keep him warm through another night. As the humans drifted off to sleep, they could hear the dragons whispering to each other in their own language, too quiet for the translator to pick up, but the tone was happy and content. For the first time since their crash, all six beings felt truly safe and comfortable. They had found something precious in each other, a friendship that crossed the vast differences between their species. Outside, the alien night was full of unknown dangers. But inside their crystal cave, humans and dragons slept peacefully together, protected by their growing bond of trust and mutual care. The shadow fell across their cave like a massive cloud blocking both suns. One moment, Wu Jin was teaching Spark how to use his tablet computer, and the next, everything went dark. The temperature in the cave dropped several degrees, and a sound, like distant thunder, echoed from somewhere high above. All three baby dragons immediately stopped what they were doing. Their scales changed from their usual bright colors to deep, respectful shades of blue and silver. They stood perfectly still, looking toward the cave entrance with what could only be described as nervous excitement. "Father," whispered Ember, through the translator. "Father has returned." Dayun's hands shook as she quickly checked her universal translator to make sure it was working properly. Taeho instinctively reached for his sidearm, then thought better of it. What good would a small human weapon be against a creature that could cast shadows this large? The sound came again, closer now. It was not just thunder. It was a roar that seemed to shake the very mountains around them. Rocks fell from the cave ceiling, and the crystal formations hummed like massive tuning forks. "Stay calm," Wu Jin whispered to his friends, though his own voice was tight with fear. "Remember, these are his children. He must love them." The baby dragons suddenly rushed toward the cave entrance, their small wings flapping excitedly. They called out in their dragon language sounds of pure joy and relief. Through the translator, the humans heard fragments. "Father, we missed you. We have friends." Then the ancient dragon appeared. Wu Jin had studied many large creatures in his career. He had seen elephants, whales, and even the giant bears of Kepler 186f. But nothing had prepared him for this. The dragon's head alone was the size of their crashed ship. His scales were not the bright colors of his children, but deep obsidian black that seemed to absorb light. His eyes were molten gold, ancient and intelligent, holding the wisdom of thousands of years. When the ancient dragon saw the three humans, he went completely still. His massive head lowered until his eyes were level with them, studying these strange creatures who stood among his children. The humans could feel the power radiating from him, the controlled strength that could easily destroy them all. For a long moment, nobody moved. The baby dragon stood between their father and the humans, chattering excitedly in dragon language. Slowly, the ancient dragon's expression began to change. His head tilted slightly, like a cat examining something curious. When he spoke, his voice was like an earthquake given words. Even through the translator, the deep rumble of his communication made the humans' bones vibrate. "Small fire creatures," he said slowly, and Wu Jin realized the dragon was looking at their heat signatures with special vision. "You have fed my offspring." It was not a question. The ancient dragon could clearly see how healthy and bright his children looked compared to when he had left them. "In 10,000 years, the dragon continued, no species has shown kindness to dragonkind without seeking dominion over us." The baby dragons continued chattering, and gradually the translator began to pick up their rapid explanations. "They shared their food. They kept us warm. They brought us to good water. They play with us. They gave us names." The ancient dragon listened to his children while never taking his golden eyes off the humans. Wu Jin could see the dragon's mind working, trying to understand what kind of creatures would help strange babies without expecting anything in return. Finally, the scientist found his courage and stepped forward. His legs felt weak and his heart was beating so fast he thought it might burst, but he knew someone had to speak for humanity. "Great dragon," he began, his voice barely steady. "We mean no harm to you or your children. We are explorers from a distant world called Earth. Our ship crashed and we found your babies hungry and alone. We couldn't just watch them suffer." The ancient dragon considered this for a long time. When he moved, it was with surprising grace for something so massive. He settled into a position where he could see both his children and the humans clearly. "You speak of your nature," the dragon rumbled. "Tell me, small fire creature, why does your species help the young of others? What do you gain?" Wu Jin thought carefully about his answer. This was the most important conversation in human history. first contact with an ancient, intelligent species. How he answered could determine whether dragons and humans would be friends or enemies. "We gain nothing material," he said honestly. "But on our world we learned long ago that survival depends on caring for all young, not just our own. A species that protects only itself will eventually fail, but a species that protects life itself, that species can thrive among the stars." The ancient dragon's eyes brightened slightly. "Interesting philosophy. And you believe this? Caring is why your species has succeeded? It's why we're still alive," added Dayun, finding her own courage. "We faced many disasters on our world. Ice ages, plagues, wars, climate changes. Each time we survived because we helped each other. The humans who shared with others lived longer than the humans who hoarded everything for themselves." Tae-ho nodded agreement. "Even in our military we have a saying, leave no one behind. We're stronger when we work together." The baby dragons had been listening to this conversation with great interest. Spark suddenly flew over to Tae-ho and perched on his shoulder, something the little dragon had been doing for days. Flicker curled up against Daun's leg, and Ember stood proudly next to Woojin. The ancient dragon watched this display of affection between his children and the humans. His expression softened just slightly. "My offspring trust you," he observed. "Dragon children are excellent judges of character. They sense the true nature of beings, not their appearance or words." "They're incredible creatures," said Woojin sincerely. "Intelligent, kind, helpful. We've learned so much from them in just a few days." "And what did you plan to do when I returned?" asked the ancient dragon. "Did you think to claim them? To take them to your world as prizes?" The question hit Woojin like a physical blow. "No," he said immediately. "Never. They belong with you, with their own kind. We just wanted to keep them safe until you came home." The ancient dragon studied the humans for several more minutes. The cave was completely silent except for the soft sounds of the baby dragon's breathing and the distant whisper of wind through the crystal formations. Finally, the great dragon spoke again. "Your species intrigues me, small fire creatures. In my long life I have seen many intelligent races. Some were conquerors who took what they wanted by force. Others were traitors who helped only when they could profit. Still others were cowards who hid from anything different from themselves." He paused, his golden eyes reflecting ancient memories. "But you are something new. You helped my children, because it was the right thing to do, not because it benefited you. This is either the greatest wisdom or the greatest foolishness I have ever encountered." Woojin held his breath, waiting for the dragon's judgment. "I must know which it is," the ancient dragon decided. "If your species truly possesses this compassion, then perhaps the galaxy is not as dark as I have believed. But if this is merely deception, if you seek to use kindness as a weapon, then you are more dangerous than any conqueror." The massive dragon rose to his full height, his head nearly touching the cave ceiling. "I will test your true nature, humans of Earth. If you pass this test, you will have earned the friendship of dragonkind. If you fail—" He didn't finish the sentence, but the implication was clear. Woojin looked at his friends, saw the same mixture of fear and determination in their eyes that he felt in his own heart. "What kind of test?" he asked. The ancient dragon's smile revealed teeth the size of swords, the kind that will prove whether humans truly care for others, or only for themselves. The ancient dragon explained his test as the morning suns rose over the crystal formations. His voice was calm, but his golden eyes held the weight of ages. "For countless generations, my family has protected this territory from shadow wolves," he began. "These creatures hunt in packs of 20 or more. They are intelligent, ruthless, and they consider dragon young to be the finest delicacy in the galaxy." The baby dragons moved closer to their human friends, seeking comfort. Through the translator, Flicker whispered, "Shadow wolves ate our cousins last year." The ancient dragon continued, "I could easily hunt the large prey my children need to grow strong. But to do so, I must travel far from our home and stay away for many days. During that time, the shadow wolves would certainly find and kill my offspring. Wu Jin began to understand the terrible choice the dragon faced every day. So instead, I hunt smaller prey nearby, barely enough to keep them alive, while I stand guard against the wolves. It is a slow starvation, but at least my children live. Another day. That's horrible, said Daun softly. You're trapped. Yes, agreed the dragon. And now you claim your species helps others without seeking benefit. Here is my test. I will leave to hunt the large prey my children need. You 3 humans will protect them from the shadow wolves until I return. 3 days and 3 nights. Taeho's face went pale. How many shadow wolves are we talking about? The pack that hunts this region numbers 27. They are the size of your Earth lions, but faster and more intelligent. They coordinate their attacks like your military units. The security officer swallowed hard. And our weapons? Use whatever you have. But know this. Shadow wolves fear nothing smaller than a full-grown dragon. They have killed armed parties twice your size. Wu Jin looked at his friends, then at the baby dragons who were watching with wide, frightened eyes. The test was designed to be nearly impossible. 3 humans with basic equipment against an entire pack of intelligent predators. The ancient dragon was asking them to risk their lives for creatures they had known for less than a week. If we refuse the test? Asked Daun quietly. Then you will leave my world immediately, and dragonkind will know that human compassion has limits, replied the ancient dragon. If you accept and fail, you will die, but your species will be remembered as brave. And if we succeed, the dragon's smile was fierce and proud. Then humans will have friends among the oldest races in the galaxy. Dragons will remember your courage for 10,000 years. The baby dragons looked up at their human friends with complete trust. Spark nuzzled against Taeho's hand. Ember sat tall and proud next to Wu Jin. Flicker climbed onto Daun's shoulder, purring softly. We accept, said Wu Jin without hesitation. His friends stared at him in shock. Wu Jin, whispered Daun. We could die. Look at them, he replied, gesturing to the baby dragons. They're just children. If we were children, wouldn't we want someone to protect us? Taeho studied the cave entrance, already thinking tactically. If we're going to do this, we need to be smart about it. Dragons, can you tell us everything about how shadow wolves hunt? The ancient dragon looked surprised by the human's acceptance, then pleased. You truly mean to try this? We mean to succeed, corrected Taeho firmly. For the next several hours, the ancient dragon and his children taught the humans everything they could about shadow wolves. The predators were nocturnal, preferring to attack in the dark. They were excellent climbers and could scale the crystal formations easily. Their hearing was exceptional, but their sense of smell was poor. They always send scouts first, explained Ember. 2 or 3 wolves will test your defenses. If they find weakness, the whole pack attacks. They like to attack from above, added Spark. They climb the crystals and jump down. Fire scares them, said Flicker. But only real fire, not your electric lights. The ancient dragon nodded approvingly at his children's knowledge. You have taught them well, little ones. Using their equipment and the dragon's advice, the humans began preparing their defenses. Taeho had brought military-grade sensors that could detect movement in the dark. Daun rigged their emergency flares into a defensive fire system. Wu Jin used his scientific instruments to create noisemakers that would confuse the wolves' hearing. The baby dragons helped eagerly, using their crystal-shaping abilities to create barriers and hiding spots. They worked together like a real team, each contributing their unique skills. As the ancient dragon prepared to leave, he spoke privately with Wu Jin. I want you to know something, human. I could kill every shadow wolf in this region myself. This test is not about protecting my children. It is about understanding your species. Wu Jin nodded. I know. You want to see if we'll really risk our lives for others. More than that. I want to see how you behave when you think you might die. Fear reveals true character. The great dragon spread his massive wings, preparing for flight. If you survive, I will share knowledge with your species that will benefit you for millennia. If you die, I will carry news of your bravery to every dragon in the galaxy. As the ancient dragon disappeared into the orange sky, the humans and baby dragons settled in to wait. The first day passed peacefully, giving them time to test their defenses and get used to working together as a team. The second day brought the first signs of trouble. Taeho's sensors detected movement in the crystal formations around their cave. Something large was watching them from a distance. "Scouts," whispered Ember, huddling close to the humans. That night, 3 shadow wolves appeared at the cave entrance. They were exactly as described, lion-sized predators with dark fur and glowing red eyes. They moved with the coordinated precision of a military unit, testing different approaches to the cave. The humans' defenses worked perfectly. Motion sensors triggered flares that lit up the cave entrance with brilliant fire. The wolves retreated, but not far. They spent the rest of the night howling to their pack, sharing information about the strange new guardians. The third day brought the real test. As darkness fell, Taeho's sensors went crazy with movement signals. The entire pack was positioning itself for a massive coordinated attack. "Remember the plan," Taeho whispered to his friends and the baby dragons. "No matter what happens, we protect the children first." The attack came from all directions at once. Shadow wolves poured down from the crystal formations above, charged through the main cave entrance, and tried to break through their defensive barriers. The humans fought with everything they had: flares, noisemakers, even their bare hands. Daiyun coordinated their defense like a general, calling out wolf positions and directing their fire. Taeho fought with military precision, using his training to maximum effect. Wujin used his scientific knowledge to predict the wolves' behavior and counter their tactics. But they were overwhelmed. There were too many wolves, and the humans were getting tired. Several wolves broke through their outer defenses and cornered Spark near the back of the cave. Without thinking, Wujin threw himself between the wolf pack leader and the baby dragon. The massive predator's claws raked across his chest, tearing through his protective suit and into his skin. Blood poured from the wounds, but Wujin stood his ground. "Not the children," he gasped. "You want to fight? Fight me." The wolf pack leader snarled and prepared to finish him off. But suddenly, a roar shook the entire mountain. The ancient dragon had returned early, and he was furious. Fire erupted from the dragon's mouth, not hot enough to kill, but bright enough to send the shadow wolves fleeing in terror. In seconds, the pack had vanished into the night, leaving only the smell of sulfur and the sound of distant howling. The ancient dragon looked at Wujin, bleeding but still standing protectively in front of Spark. He saw Da-Yun and Taeho, exhausted but alert, ready to keep fighting for the baby dragons even though they were clearly outmatched. "You could have run," the dragon observed quietly. "When you realized you could not win, you could have saved yourselves and left my children to die." "Never," whispered Wujin, swaying from blood loss. "We promised to protect them." The ancient dragon's golden eyes grew warm with respect and something that might have been affection. "Then you have passed the test, humans of Earth. You have proven that your compassion is real, that your courage is true, and that your species can be trusted with the welfare of others." As Daiyun bandaged Wujin's wounds and the baby dragons purred against their human protectors, the ancient dragon made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. "Your species will need friends among the stars," he told them. "Today you have earned the greatest friend of all, dragonkind itself." The ancient dragon spent the next morning tending to Wujin's wounds with surprising gentleness for such a massive creature. His breath, when controlled carefully, had healing properties that helped the cuts close cleanly and prevented infection. "Your species is fragile," the dragon observed as he worked, "but your spirits are stronger than the hardest crystal." Wujin lay still, amazed by the careful attention from a being that could have crushed him with one claw. "We may be fragile, but we heal fast when we have help from friends." The baby dragons had not left their human protectors' sides all night. They had been deeply upset by seeing Wujin injured, and they expressed their worry through constant purring and gentle nuzzling. Spark had even brought Wu Jin his favorite crystal flower, placing it carefully on the scientist's chest. As the healing progressed, the ancient dragon began to speak about things no human had ever heard before. "I have lived for 12,000 years," he said, his golden eyes reflecting memories of ages past. "I have watched stars be born and die. I have seen civilizations rise from primitive tribes and fall back to dust. In all that time, I have learned one truth above all others." The three humans listened intently, knowing they were hearing wisdom accumulated over millennia. The galaxy is vast and often cruel. Most species that achieve space travel become conquerors or victims. They expand by taking from others, or they are destroyed by those who do. But very rarely, perhaps once in 10,000 years, a species emerges that grows through giving rather than taking. Daun looked up from where she was playing, with flicker. "Is that what you think humans might be?" "I have seen the proof with my own eyes," replied the dragon. "You could have taken my children as prizes or bargaining tools. You could have demanded payment for helping them. Instead, you asked for nothing and gave everything, even your own lives." The ancient dragon rose and moved to the back of the cave, where the walls were covered in crystal formations that seemed to shift and flow like frozen water. With careful precision, he breathed on the crystals and they began to change shape under the controlled heat of his breath. "What are you doing?" asked Taeho curiously. "Creating a gift for your species," replied the dragon. "Knowledge that will serve you well when you begin to explore the galaxy in earnest." The crystals formed into a complex three-dimensional map of the local star systems. Hundreds of points of light showed the locations of planets, space stations, and trade routes. Different colors indicated different types of worlds. Green for habitable planets, blue for worlds with intelligent life, red for dangerous systems. To avoid. "This is incredible," breathed Wu Jin, struggling to sit up to get a better look. "This must represent thousands of years of exploration." 12,000 years to be precise, said the ancient dragon with pride. "Every world my kind has visited, every species we have encountered, every safe harbor and every deadly trap. I am giving this knowledge to humanity." But the map was just the beginning. The dragon continued working with the crystals, creating detailed information about dozens of alien species. Which ones were friendly to newcomers, which were hostile, and which were best avoided entirely. "The crystalline collective in the Vega system will trade advanced technology for mathematical theorems," he explained as he shaped their information into the crystal matrix. "The hive queens of Arcturus respect only strength, but they honor fair combat. The quantum dancers near Sirius communicate through synchronized movement rather than sound." Dayun was recording everything frantically, knowing this information could save countless human lives when they eventually reach these distant worlds. "There are also dangers you must know about," continued the dragon, his tone becoming serious. "The machine swarm in the Orion arm converts all biological matter into technology. Avoid their space completely. The void feeders beyond the galactic rim consume the life force of entire planets. And the ancient enemies in the galactic center, well, even dragons fear them." Taeho studied the tactical information with professional interest. "Why are you telling us about the dangerous species?" "Because knowledge of danger is the greatest gift I can give," replied the dragon. "Your species burns bright with the fire of compassion, but compassion without wisdom leads to extinction. You must know which beings can be helped and which must be fought." As the dragon worked, the baby dragons shared their own knowledge. Through the translator, they told the humans about the planets they had visited with their father, the strange foods different worlds offered, and the beautiful sights that could be seen from space. "There's a world where the whole planet is covered in singing crystals," Ember explained excitedly. "The music is so beautiful it makes you cry happy tears." "And there's another place where the oceans float in the sky instead of on the ground," added Spark. "You can swim through clouds." Flicker, the smallest and most thoughtful of the three, had a different kind of information to share. "Father, tell them about the lonely ones." The ancient dragon paused in his work, a sad expression crossing his massive features. "Ah, yes. The lonely ones." He turned to the humans, his golden eyes reflecting deep sorrow. There are species in the galaxy who became too intelligent for their own good. They created perfect societies with no conflict, no struggle, no growth. Now they sit in their perfect cities, slowly dying of boredom and despair. They have everything they ever wanted and no reason to want anything else. Could we help them? Asked Wu Jin immediately. The ancient dragon smiled, and his expression was proud and sad at the same time. That question, asked without hesitation, proves everything I believed about your species. Yes, perhaps you could help them. Your chaotic, imperfect, wonderfully alive approach to existence might be exactly what they need. As the crystal map neared completion, the dragon began working on something else, a detailed repair manual for the humans' crashed ship. His ancient knowledge of technology, combined with his understanding of crystal formations, provided solutions the humans had never considered. Your engines are destroyed, but the crystal formations on this world can store and channel energy more efficiently than any technology, he explained. By growing the right crystals inside your ship and connecting them properly, you can create a power source that will not only get you home, but will revolutionize human space travel. The repair work took 2 full days, with the dragon carefully growing and shaping crystals, while the humans followed his instructions to install them in their ship. The baby dragons helped by creating smaller, more delicate crystal components that human hands were too large to craft. When the work was finished, their small research vessel had been transformed into something unprecedented, a hybrid of human technology and dragon crystal engineering. The ship hummed with power that felt almost alive, responding to the crew's needs with an intelligence of its own. But before they could leave, there was one more gift to exchange. The humans had prepared detailed instructions for synthesizing the emergency food rations that had saved the baby dragons' lives. The formulations were precisely calculated to provide perfect nutrition for growing dragons, and the manufacturing process was simple enough that even primitive technology could produce the food bars. This is so your children never have to go hungry again, Wu Jin explained as he handed over the data crystal containing the food synthesis information. And when you find other dragon families, you can share this with them too, the ancient dragon accepted the gift with deep gratitude. You continue to surprise me, humans. Even as you prepare to leave, you think of others' welfare. As the time came for departure, the goodbye was harder than anyone had expected. The baby dragons clung to their human friends, not wanting them to leave. Through the translator, their voices were full of sadness. Will we see you again? Asked Spark, perched on Tejo's shoulder one last time. I promise we will, replied the security officer, gently petting the small dragon's scales. Humans always keep their promises to friends. And we'll bring more humans to meet you, added Da-Un, hugging Flicker carefully. Good humans who will love you just like we do. Ember, the most mature of the three, understood the necessity of the departure better than his siblings, but even he was sad to see his friends go. Father, he said through the translator, can we visit the human world someday? The ancient dragon considered this carefully. When you are grown and strong enough for long space travel, yes. I think the humans would welcome dragon visitors to their blue world. Wu Jin nodded enthusiastically. Earth would be honored to host dragonkind. We have so much to learn from each other. As the humans boarded their transformed ship, the ancient dragon spoke his final words of advice. Your kind burns bright with the fire of kindness, small fire creatures. In the vast cosmos, that fire will attract both friends and enemies. The friends will make you stronger than you can imagine. But beware the enemies. There are those who see kindness as weakness and will try to exploit your compassion. We'll remember, promised Wu Jin, and we'll remember who taught us this wisdom. The ship lifted off smoothly, powered by dragon crystal technology that would puzzle human scientists for generations. As they rose into the orange sky, the humans could see the ancient dragon and his children watching from the crystal formations below.